I'm trying to beat World of Warcraft Classic as an Arcane only mage without dying a single time. Last video we pushed the 2 usable Arcane spells to their limit and blasted our way through the stockades and Black Phantom Deeps. Finally getting a long-awaited upgrade. Speaking of long-awaited upgrades, these goggles are looking a bit out of fashion. To help us, I quickly catched up on engineering to give us access to the green tinted goggles. And by using a bit of foresight, I've already stored 2 moss agates in the bank from previous findings.
That's smart.
But the troublesome material is going to be the medium leather. To get the previous goggles, we ran around looting chests around Elwyn for an hour, which is not really something I want to repeat. And this really only...
Dude, honestly, man, get medium leather. Either you do fishing or you run around and pick up chests around wetlands. Wetlands has a bunch of chests.
Leaves us with one other option.
Fishing is good though. Yeah, just fish
After some fishing, I got enough skill to fish in wetlands, where we can access some watertight trunks out of schools of fish or salvage. These contain a lot of different things, but for us, they boast a stunning 45% chance to contain 2 to 4 medium leather, which we promptly acquired from our first trunk, letting us craft our new fancy goggles.
Easy.
Having spent quite some time fishing though, I decided to clear the rest of the coast in search of a few more trunks, and I'm honestly glad I did, since one of the boxes had a new fashionable pair of pants. Last time we managed to get our hands on a new Arcane Explosion rank, which puts us at the beginning of a new cycle. This rank has about a 50% damage increase over the previous. This is really something we need to take advantage of, because it is quite literally the fastest we are ever going to be able to kill a lot of enemies. And
how can a mage just... Dude, it's so disgusting, man. Mages are so dumb.
That's exactly what we did. It's also worth mentioning that we have spec improved mana shield, and with rank 2 of the spell now in our arsenal, it means that each mana shield is able to absorb 210 physical damage for the cost of 400 mana, which theoretically just doubles our max health, but practically we need to use mana for a few other things as well, such as damage. Feeling good from absolutely terminating the local raptor population, I of course used slow fall to jump off this very tall ledge and killed some more raptors. But ahead of us lies a very big decision. Elite quests are a good source of not only experience but also upgrades to our gear. Now of course, elites have around triple to quadruple the health of traditional enemies, but to help us they also deal significantly more damage, leaving us with no way of being able to out-DPS them, especially considering that we don't even have enough total mana to deal that much damage. This of course leaves us with the option of kiting. Unfortunately, Arcane is the weakest school of magic to use for such a thing. Frost obviously has infinite slows, but even Fire is equipped with Fire Blast, which is a long-range instant cast that costs half the mana of Arcane Explosion.
Good.
This leaves us with only a 1 to use, which is sketchy because we have to stand still for quite some time before an attack goes out, and of course Arcane Explosion, which costs a great deal of mana and has a limited range. All in all,
you don't have the Arcane slow spell. I think that's in TBC, that the Arcane like slow ability gets added.
These are all good reasons for us to not attempt elite quests. So after finishing up Wetlands, it was off to Arathi. Just kidding, of course we're gonna try the elite quests. So, how are we going to kite an elite for minutes at a time without any sort of movement effect? Well, you might have seen me do something similar before, and that is with the use of either fences or trees. Fences are the better options, but wetlands lack any substantial amount of infrastructure, so we're going to have to turn to Mother Nature. The reason why trees work is that enemies take a slightly longer path around the trunk of the tree, letting us cut edges sharper, giving us a little bit of distance. Now,
I have actually never seen anyone do necrush using the tree. That's
First attempt, I just wanted to test the waters. Our biggest problem lies in keeping him in combat. If I don't deal damage to him for some time, he's just gonna reset and run back to his camp. But if I'm too greedy and hit him too much, he's gonna catch up, which will either force me to blink away or reset the pull. Attempt number 1 wasn't too successful. He always managed to reach me and my mana was burned at a rapid pace. Attempt number 2 was a lot better, but eventually my mana got completely whittled down and I had to mana pot to blink away. But this gave me an idea. Up to this point I had been a bit careful with my mana, trying to save enough for the kill. But this only led to me using a lot of rank 1 Arcane Explosion to keep him...
Evo Kid is level 30, right? No, it's not. He has Evo Kid right there.
Which is less damage per mana, and on top of that he also hit me a lot in mana shield, which also burns a ton. Instead, I was going to try to blow all my mana up front, then drop a target dummy and use evocation to get right back to full to finish him off. Unfortunately, I kinda messed up early in the pull, and then panicked while dropping the dummy, completely wasting the 3rd attempt. But the idea was there. By the 4th I got a lot more comfortable with what to do. I used Arcane Explosion, slightly staggered as he was close, and as soon as I gained a bit of distance, I threw one wand attack at him, to save some mana and allow him to get close enough again. But then...
It's also really nice, because once the I think it's below 20% health, the mobs start moving slower, so...
I made
you
a
need to get to that
fatal
point.
mistake. My mana gem shares
Attack him.
cooldown with the target dummy, and I popped it like an idiot thinking I would squeeze out a bit more damage before it was time to invocation. This would leave me with a 3-something minute cooldown before I could use my dummy. But I wasn't going to give up, as long as I kept playing the way I had, albeit with a bit more wanding and a lower rank of Arcane Explosion. Fortunately, you only need to get a mob close to 20% HP before they start running a lot slower, being close to death. And at this point, kiting becomes a cakewalk. So once there, I quickly finished him off and managed to slay Necrosh on my 4th attempt, even securing us an achievement. Then it was off to Thandalspan, where I already managed to acquire a new pair of pants.
Oh my God,
okay,
so
and it came with a timed quest where I had to sprint to South Shore before the time ran out. But while doing so, I kind of overlooked what levels the enemies around me were, and went straight into Fire Elemental like 10 levels above me. But aside from that, enemies were now taking a very long time to kill, with 4 arcane missiles cast each. Therefore, it's really about time we hit level 32.
Dude,
but we were returning to Stone Talon, where the mobs were slightly lower level. So right now, our low rank shouldn't pose that much of a problem. Although I quickly regretted going there after I had run about 50 laps around this cursed valley. Just
I wonder what his slash plate is, because he went to like 10 kind of fast.
A single basilisk, but eventually that cleared up and we headed into Desolace to grab the flight path on our way out. Nice. This is where I ran to Rexar, and after suffering
he actually doesn't attack you. He's friendly.
A mini cardiac arrest,
I guess it's
a
scary.
quick Google search reassured me that he was of no threat to us. Nice. Finishing up Ashen Vale, I really took a moment to consider how crazy it is that this game was released in 2004. Like, it seems almost impossible that this game is so big and was made 20 years ago. Anyways, I ran into this rare, which has a very scary 10-second cast that one-shot you if it goes off. So I just had to make sure to interrupt it and kill him before he gets the next cast off. Although killing him here was kind of a mistake, since apparently he also dropped the quest item. But after a lot of trial and even more error, we hit 32 and unlocked our new Arcane Missiles rank. This rank is not only a big damage increase, it actually costs less mana per damage, which is nice to see.
Okay, I've never heard of anyone like calculating mana per... Okay.
On my adventures, I also ran into another Arcane-only mage, which is kinda cool, but feels overshadowed by the fact that he is of the opposite faction and twice my level. So I fled. Clearing the Dead Mice 10 levels ago started a quest chain that we finally managed to finish just now, giving us this...
I remember Arcane Boy. That troll we just saw, I remember, I think I read it. Have I run into that guy? I think I have.
Seal of Rin, and this ring might last us for quite a while. It's also kind of crazy how strong the initial target dummies are. After overpulling a pack of werewolves, it managed to tank all 5 of them for ages, as I just kept blasting them down.
So insane.
Really showing the strength of engineering. But feeling strong after taking down Necrosh, it was time to flex our strength on Morladim, another elite situated in Duskwood. In fact, there are 3 elite quests in this area that we are about to tackle. Morladim was going to prove a much easier challenge than the previous, because this time we have access to the fence. While a bit tricky to make the jump at times, it still clears the tree by a wide margin due to us being able to blink away easily if something goes wrong.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
On top of that, we're also mostly stationary, leaving us able to Arcane Missiles for a majority. With Morladim down and another achievement secured, I found it kind of funny how these quest achievements give the same amount of points as the Arcane Challenge. This means getting from 1 to 60 using only Arcane spells gives the same reward as killing that elite. Being blessed by Powered Fortitude, which really just is a stupid amount of health, it was time for our next elite. This one is no trouble as a caster.
Yeah, sit on the freaking little house there and just kill her down.
Because Eliza is also a caster, we can stand on top of the shed to completely negate the ad she spawns, without resetting her. This leaves it to a DPS race between the 2 of us, and in a scenario like that, we come out on top. The last elite quest is the scariest.
Most casts like that don't really do a lot of damage at this level.
Though, because he spawns with 4 extra enemies. I was already uncertain if I was even going to attempt it, but when I showed up to his home, he was already being killed. So I decided to skip this one for now. For real this time. Too scary. Hitting level 34 unlocks perhaps the last new spell of our kit. Mage Armor. This gives us a small amount of resistance, which is completely overshadowed by the other effect, allowing us to keep 30% of our mana regeneration while casting. This coupled with the talent giving us 15%, we total a 45% retained mana regen, which is actually very substantial. After finally utilizing our presence of mind polymorph on some unsuspecting murlocs, we had to enter a familiar looking cave in search of some granite. Granite? I don't know. Of course,
Not a lot of people do this quest,
another
actually.
pinnacle
It's a
of
big
quest
chain.
design, we cleared the entire cave without completing the quest. But after a bit of wait, one had respawned. Regrettably, this also means the rest of the cave had respawned, and I didn't really want to clear my way out, considering all the dangers involved. So I decided to opt for a logout skip. This is done by simply logging out while above terrain while inside some sort of structure or a cave. And
Dude,
then once
I wouldn't want to do logout skips, man, because you never fucking know,
logging
dude.
in, the game will send you straight to the nearest graveyard or an instance portal, which you can use to save some
Yeah.
time. But as I logged out, I realized, hey, is it only friendly graveyards or is it any graveyard?
Yeah,
This is quite the
it
realization to have when it's already way too late. Terran Mill
Instanced, yes. Right here, Eltric Valley is also an instanced.
is for sure closer to us than South Shore, and is populated by level 55 Horde guards. If I were to log in and end up there, that's a very high chance to die. Not only that, the instance portals for Alterac Valley are right above our heads.
But this one is
we could
Alliance.
be closest to the Horde entrance,
He's not.
resulting also in instant death. But there's really no way around it other than logging in. Character unstock requests are not allowed by the hardcore add-on, so it's just time to send it. The Alliance Alterac Valley instance portal was the closest to us.
Yep.
What a very stupid way to die that would have been.
We've seen a lot of people die that way, though.
Oh, let me just do a little logout skip, guys. I'm gonna save 5 minutes here.
This also took us exactly where we wanted to go, so in the end, mission accomplished, I guess. I also had a few more scares running past Terran Mill as I was grabbing the Western Plaguelands flight path. And
I
not
remember seeing PS Hero die here, man, because he was doing the freaking quest with the staff.
only bumping into high-level Horde
Fabian
guards,
Doom.
but also this very big and scary elite red dragon for some reason. Remember a few videos ago where we killed Fangor? We used a tactic called split pulling. This lets us separate the enemy of interest away from a pack by making sure we pull the entire pack using the same ability.
Yep.
This was again
Or
going to be
are you?
useful
Did
for
he
the
also like that?
Forsaken Courier. And using the explosives provided by that one storming quest 20 levels ago, I managed to get a
That sounds so freaking vanilla, man.
So I used this quest I used this item I gained from a quest 16 levels ago, 4 weeks prior, to now utilize this for a quest.
It's so funny, man. I love that there's some random shit like that. It's the same thing with the Elven Forest quest where you get that those little it's from doing the kobolds where you get a flash powder or something that reduces like a chance to hit from the mobs, and you use that in Nax Ramas against Stitches. Not Stitches, Abomination, freaking Patchwork. It's the same thing. It's Bag of Marbles. That's the one. Yeah. So you use Bag of Marbles on Patchwork, so he hits for less, and it's like a one-time use. You can use it 10 times, but you get one bag of marbles that you can use 10 times, and you save it all the way till Nax.
perfect split pull and kill the courier. On the way out, I also managed to contract a nasty disease, but
We
being
used
the
that on
oracle
Putellas, yeah, in TBC, yeah.
that we had saved a staff from an Ashenvale quest which lets us dispel a disease or poison to use for this one moment. I also strolled by Stromgarde to stock up on the first aid books required to advance in the profession. And a short while after that we hit level 35, which gets us access to the talent
cranking
Instability.
it.
When this is fully spec'd, it will give us 3% damage and crit chance, which is nothing to scoff at when combined with a 6% Arcane Explosion crit chance, putting us at a 14% chance to crit with that one spell, which is, you know, half our damage and kit. It was now time for perhaps our biggest undertaking yet.
Gnomeregan.
Gnomeregan. This place is, for the lack of a better
Jeg kan ikke få døren til Gnomeregan up. Dude, this one is a rough one.
word, a fucking maze.
It's just the last
indefinitely long with a lot of spots that can easily wipe your group, especially coming towards the end. But after our group was assembled, somebody actually noted that they had seen a YouTube video of a guy doing the Arcane challenge as well. Not wanting to embarrass myself after having identity revealed, I went to flex my Arcane explosion and nearly died pulling like 10 mobs. Good start. We also have a bit of an interesting dungeon setup. A low-level healer, Arcane only mage, and a Retribution paladin as a tank. This is a dungeon where the levels are getting to a point where I'm no longer comfortable tanking half the time, which means our AoE damage is going to take a hit. Luckily, major segments of this dungeon feature packs of 4 to 6 non-elite enemies
It's only the
at a
tunnel
time,
that's hard.
which completely saves our overall damage by letting us
The
path
rest is
like
okay.
crazy. After an hour of winding down these infinite halls, we were approaching the last boss, which presents us with 2 formidable challenges. First, the Dark Iron Dwarves. These
Yeah.
lads drop mines, which if not killed on time will blow up, ensuring the
And
end of your
nullifiers.
bloodline. But funnily enough, that's not even the scariest part. The pathway is separated into 3 sections. 2 upper and 1 lower. Now clearing all of them is out of the question, so you have to stick to one. The catch is, if you were to at any point accidentally aggro one of the other levels by getting too close, the now approaching enemy will run through the entire floor to reach you, dragging literally every mob down there with them along the way.
So
On top of this, because our priest is slightly underleveled, it increases the range at which enemies see him. To get around this immense threat of looming death, all you have to do is hug the walls like your life depends on it, because it literally does. Not that it makes
He's using the cat and Gnomeregan music. I guess it's because he doesn't want to listen to the pling-a-ling-a-ling, pling-a-ling-a-ling all the time, but...
easy,
This is the
considering
Cat
tackling
music.
even one floor is a challenge. But with enough CC and careful pulling, we made it to the last boss and
Nice.
finished the dungeon. Well, I say finished, but we spent another 30 minutes running around trying to finish quests. Eventually we called it quits and I
classic.
teleported out to freedom.
Look at
Our
that quest
reward
log,
is
though.
a lot of XP and this very fancy chest. Sadly, the chest is just mostly spirit, but with mage armor unlocked, this is no longer such a dead stat. Plus, it looks nice.
really
We
good.
are now close to 4 levels away from our mount, but that will have to wait until next time.
Cool! I like these videos, man. It's like a fun, I like the storytelling a lot in Yampanos' videos. I'll link it here, chat. Check out Yampanos, fellow little content creator here, playing some World of Warcraft.